Well, somebody one day will ask me, but it's important for people to embrace the moment that it is. And that is, we have a listener, Jesse, we have you, and we have witnesses all around. Most thing about life is to know that you are never to live your life alone. We are called to live our life observed and witnessed by somebody else. And the power, there is power in your being. There is even greater power to being aware of what is in your neighborhood, in your environment, to observe others and to be observed. Because there's something quite powerful about that. And so, anyways, I am happy to join you for this conversation and to take it whatever direction this week. But I say thank you, listeners, and those who choose to join us this evening.
Yes. Yeah, we're looking forward to having a chat with you. And I'm with you 100% there, Daniel. This moment right now, I don't need anything. I'm not hungry. I'm not thirsty. I'm not tired. I'm not sleepy. And just being here with you, having a conversation, feel the breath coming into my lungs and leaving my lungs, and seeing what I can see with my eyes and feeling the air temperature around me. Just being here in this moment is a pretty beautiful thing.
And this moment is miraculous if you really want to. Let me tell you one thing that is happening right now that nobody sees. Your heart is pumping. Your lungs are inflating, exflating there in quite a lot of things. And your body, there's so much intelligence in the moment. There's physical intelligence, mental intelligence, there is emotional intelligence, there's spiritual intelligence, and the logical intelligence that are happening inside of us. And the universe and the world, we say the earth still rotating and so on and on. Every moment is really miraculous. And we got a beautiful moment. So I believe one of the things that we have been sharing these past few weeks about Hope Fire is about living a healthy life. And a healthy life begins with embracing the fact that you are dating a dated self, that you have self, that you are in time and in space. And that embracing that is quite important. And once we embrace that, we can live and respond adequately to the moment. And that live faithfully, because if you do not respond adequately to the environment, to the moment, is that a moment like this, you can crying when in reality you should be rejoicing. And many people are sad, they are having a healthy experience in life. And whatever moment it is in their lives, really they're not embracing this reality that I'm just sharing about. Mm-hmm. And so welcoming the day, receiving the day as is, and being in touch with who they are. I don't know if you have been experiencing that, but I think it's quite important for health to be. And we say we're going to talk about hope, and that's important. Hope deferred makes the heart sick. That's important. We talk about being helpful. And I think it's important that we remind our people and our listener about what is this show all about? What is this moment all about? I think so anyways.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. And one thing to tie on your comment too, is about how grateful I am, and I think you should be, about what's working well with your health, right? That you could get out of bed in the morning and your legs worked and your arms worked and you could see, and all of those things that a lot of times you take it for granted. And then when something goes wrong, you're really mad. Why is my shoulder sore? I don't understand. But the 382 days before that, it wasn't sore. You paid it no notice. So to appreciate it when it's working well and to value that it's working so well, I think that's important. It is a miracle. It's a miracle how your heart keeps beating. That's incredible. How does that happen, right?
That is so much, but this also is a statement again to people who are they're certain controlling everything. You're not controlling your beat. You didn't a magical pill to make your heart beat. You didn't swallow something to make your break. And it's amazing that everything that matters in our lives, controlling everything that is so important in your life, you are not in control of. And I
Mhm.
think it should speak a lot of us who are so controlling things that really don't matter. You
Mm.
see,
Yeah.
and most of life, an important aspect of our lives happen, you know, just quietly. And that's why I love that the silent, your heart is a silent partner with you. Your
Hmm.
brain is a silent partner. Your lungs, silent partner, and you do not need to control them. And yet, if in many ways somebody would say they control you, but actually, it's our arrogance. Sometimes we have this mental arrogance that we must control everything. We must control reality. We must control everything. I'm saying it's important that one learns to relax, to embrace the moment. It is and it's helpful, and it's what adds value. I don't know. Have you like today, like you think about the day and all the things that came across your table that you need to control, and you are going so crazy about controlling them. And think about the condition you want to control. Think about the thing that come across your way. It's the winds around that, yeah, actually you don't need to. And that really the most important thing and ask what is really crucial. You don't need to worry. You just need to feed your body. You're going to drink healthy. You're going to eat healthy. You got to think healthy. And you got to have a great outlook of life. You got to have great relationships. And what do? You begin to read that the miracle of life work for you.
I'm with you 100%. And the more you value yourself, the more you value your body and keeping it working well, and value your mind and feeding your mind good stuff, the better it performs for you, right? The better life is
Yes.
for you, right? But
Yeah. It's so.
we want to share our dream. Is that correct, Daniel? Do we want to do that?
Go for it. You go for it. Go. Share the dream. Come
All
on.
right. Daniel and I have this dream. It must have been in Google Vision or something. We saw every face of every person in the whole world, every human being on the whole planet we saw in one little glimpse, all 7.8 billion of them. And all of them, amazingly, and there's different colors, different hues, a rainbow of different colors. There was different languages. There's different foods they wanted to eat. There's different clothes they wore. There was different gods that they acknowledged or that they sought comfort from. But all of this beautiful sea of humanity, all of them were healthy. All of them were healthy. That's something. All of them were hopeful. You could see in their eyes, their hope in their eyes. And all of them were helpful with their hands and what they spoke. They wanted to be helpful. They wanted to be encouraging to themselves and to others. And so it was this beautiful thing of how the world's going to, in our lifetime, Daniel, is the world going to be that way in our lifetime?
I think so, because even if you would still, if you dare our lifetime, right?
Okay.
For eternity, this is still our lifetime. So
okay, fair enough. Fair enough. All right, let me rephrase. In our human existence, Daniel, you and I, after we're going to become spirit again, right? We're a spiritual being having this human experience. So in our human experience, do you think we're going to see that?
That's right. I think we're already seeing it. And I think sometimes we are seeing a lot of things, but we really don't know what we are looking at. We are looking, but we're not seeing. Mm-hmm. We don't, because there's something about what we see, something about us make us not see reality and understand it as it ought to be. And we are already hearing, but there's somewhat our ears that really keep us from hearing deeply. And we are already feeling it. But it's something about our feeling that really limits us from being able to appropriate and to embrace all the full breadth of reality that is manifesting. But imagine, though, if we could live in hope, if our heart can be low of hope, and if we can live in faith and believing in each other, and believing in that there's purpose in our being here, that there's purpose in our lives, there's a destiny in us. If we can believe a little bit more, and trust a little bit more. And not only that, if we can actually lend a hand, a helping hand, and show more compassion, more love, reach out, embrace more, what would happen to our life? What would happen to the quality of our life and our existence here? I think something profound will change. And I say that also saying we are already seeing it, because really faith, hope, and helpfulness always happen in the now, because there is no future actually. There is past actually. There is only this moment. So we are materializing our hope, we are materializing our faith, we are materializing our helpfulness. Today, how did you get to serve others? How did you get served? You know, if you took a sip of a cup of coffee, imagine there probably is 20 people who work together to bring that coffee to you. And that could also contribute to humanity and help create a helpful chain to feed and to nurture the world and others in your circle. You know, from the guy who cultivated the tea to the guy who put it together, the farmers, the folks who dried it, I don't know, who packaged it, probably hundreds of people. And the water, the people in our work so that, you know, from the mountains, I don't know what they do to water, and we can drink it. The whole world is serving you. If you can offer your presence in such a way that you could also be helpful, be of added value to somebody, then you have done your fair share. You are not in this world without serving anything. It's quite stupid to exist in the world just for self. And I know some pretty much, I suppose most of our listeners will really embrace that, and they believe that reality that we are here to be helpful to somebody, because your mom and dad, they were helpful to you. You are here because somebody helped you. We are all standing on the shoulders of our brothers and sisters, and mom and dad, grandparents and great-grandparents, soldiers who fought for our liberties, and people who volunteer all without pay, and folks who give their life for us. So truly, this is the act of being present. So when we talk about hope, faith, and helpfulness, it's not a future thing. It's not a past thing. It's about activating who we truly are. Because human beings, when they truly are, they are hopeful, they are faithful, they are full of help. There is an added value. I don't know if you want to add something to this, or if it's making sense. At least you think it's making sense to our listeners.
Daniel, I'm with you 100%.
Yes.
You're preaching to the choir, my friend. Yeah. So I just wanted to kind of I add on to that. When you talk about, you know, that 20 hands or 100 hands got this coffee into my cup, right? That this, it's kind of also expresses how each of us, the role each of us plays is important, because it's a being of value. Maybe you don't know who, but there's somebody that you're being of value to. There's somebody you're making a difference in your life, whatever job you do, like whatever job is your calling, or whatever job you're involved in, that has a value to somebody downstream from you, right? That depends on you and what you do for them to be live their life the way they want to live. Would you agree?
So important that the thing that we are here to serve, and it is in our serving that we really prove our presence and in our added value. Lending a hand, you know, that's or it manifests in many ways. I don't believe it's a good thing to not work. You are able to, even whatever it is. Like, it's not good to be oisivity. It kills. You know, many of us, we are unwell because we're not volunteering who we are. We're not contributing something. And whenever human beings are not contributing, they're not truly living as they ought to, not ought to by law, but ought to by design, because we are people who are here to serve a cause. And it's like they say, when you discover your calling, it's like it's just about serving. It's about when you bring your gladness to meet the world's need. That's the point of contribution, so like, and you do it joyfully. And I mean, whatever it is, even if I can hand a pen to somebody, I was helpful. No matter how difficult it is, just find it in yourself to do something that helps somebody else. When you do, you give your joy. So every day you wake up, joy is in you. Joy is locked up in somebody else. When you actually serve somebody, when you go back to work, even though you don't like it, when day in, you gotta wake up and go and work. And I'm just amazed at people who shovel the snow for us, or like all year long, like during the winter. It's unbelievable. They wake up daily and they come early before the sun comes up and they shovel and drive. Isn't that something? And I bet they do it joyfully. If you're not doing it joyfully, you better stop doing it joyfully. Because when you don't do it joyfully, you steal from self. You shrink. You do not add value.
Sure.
And it's quite anyways, as my experience is concerned.
That same activity, you were talking about shoveling the walks, that same activity, if you do it joyful, it's a pleasant experience, right? You do it with a smile on your face and redness in your cheeks and a song in your heart kind of a thing. And if you do it, it's the same activity, but if you do it and you're not happy about it, you don't think about who you're serving. It's a task. It's arduous. It's difficult, right? It's painful, but it's all it is, that difference in terms of I'm here to make this difference and I'm going to enjoy making this difference in this person's life, right?
It is so important. And even if it fall on your lot, and all that you can do is to make a song or make a melody and to just sing, think it transforms the environment. It makes old and the more, it alleviates the burden of a moment. It alleviates whatever anxiety is known. It alleviates, it transforms the atmosphere. And I believe by a song, you can change a world. And that's what music, like whatever you do, like you can begin by doing this. Yeah, just begin humming something. And speaking about that, it's always in humming for people who have been, people who are going through slavery, folks who have been through a loss of toy. Sometimes they can do and sing, except the melody.
Nice. Nice.
That
Good. No, I'm with you 100%. I've talked to you before about Dr. Bruce Perry. Dr. Bruce Perry's that guy from the book. There's the boy who was raised as a dog. And so these kids that have had these terrible abusive lives, and he helps them to recover, to get their brain working properly, to restore what happened in the neurosequential growth of that child's brain. And two of the things he always talks about are motion and music, rhythm, and rhythm and repetitiveness. Well, that's dancing, singing, humming, that's those things. So that can be something that cures people, but it could also be something that makes every day nicer for them, more enjoyable, more pleasurable for them, is a little bit of humming, a little bit of singing, a little bit of dancing.
Yes, isn't that great? The music therapy, within, again, as a pastor, I know one of the things that I read somewhere, or anybody who read the old book, there's a story of David and Saul. Saul had a mental problem. It's a debilitating disease. It will hit him. We don't know. We're not told exactly what it is, but he will be so agitated that he can there was no medication that can calm him down. And so they will hire professional singers. And David was one of them, King David. And David would play music, the harp. And it always does a trick. It calms what they call an evil spirit, which mean that a part of him, was infested, spiritual somehow. And so when he played the David applied music therapy, and it profoundly impacted his life. And I think sometimes if you can do nothing, use your voice.
Mm-hmm.
If you can use your actually heal somebody, just sing something. Sometimes when we hear a melody, we weep and weep, and in grieving and weeping, there is healing that comes sometimes. Maybe you can't sing, hum. If you can't, if your mouth is shut, well, look, give a look, notice somebody, wink at somebody, for crying out loud. Don't be creepy. Wink at somebody, like just wink, do something. I think we can be present in the world, and we can make our presence the weapon of mass, it's a weapon of mass construction, that our presence, our body, our voice, it can build, where there is destabilization, our presence can add value, you see.
Daniel,
I don't know if there's anybody else who believe or want to call, maybe they can relate or they treat something, but I think it's quite important to be present and to volunteer our presence, our voice, our hands, our mouths, our ears, whatever it is, such that as added value, you see.
Beautiful.
I think there's so powerful about that.
Back to Saul's condition that he had. Do you think today that would be just depression?
It could be depression. It could be so like there's quite a lot of thing, but part of him could not associate with part of himself. It's like something was disjointed. And in many ways, I actually think Saul is the metaphor. Saul is like it's our whole world fit of Saul. The world is like Saul. The whole world is Saul. It is discontent. It's uneasy. Our economy is uneasy. And I think our politics is the same thing. Our marriages are like that. And need a little bit thing, and that music words, it can be a new generation of poet, people who will I think we need a new generation, because there's something about poetry that changed the world. Potters, like we need a new generation of volunteers, and yes, missionaries reach out elsewhere, and generation this, because our whole world is like a Saul. It's self-destruct. It is depressed. It's overwhelmed. It's overwhelmed with something that is way deeper than anybody can explain. And interesting that the solution to the Saul problem is nowhere else but in the community. Mm-hmm. And so the solution to our world problem, the solution to your personal, to your marriage, to our relationship, to our political problem is in community, in us engaging together to offer a cure to the world. And the cure is in us, human being, heal human being by using whatever resources is available in that sense. Healing is applied. And that's why in my profession, one of the things we do, we lay our hand on somebody's head. There is a kind there. That to say that I see you, who isn't. I don't know if you want the Avatar. One of the key things I love, one of my favorite scenes is like many scenes, but I love the part that when it was these two actors, and like I hear you hear when the people connect, you hear this, I see you. And I think it's so cool for us to notice each other, to see each other.
And
when
notice,
you see, ah,
go ahead.
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, I just was going to say it's the other part of that is that we see each other and our differences dissolve and our sameness is what we focus on, right? That we like all of our superficial differences don't matter, but all of the commonality that we share, the humanity we share, is the most important part for us to enjoy together. And I think in this process, help each person to find their true voice. What is their voice? What is their calling? Why are they on this earth, right? You say people come here because they have a special purpose. Well, maybe the rest of us are supposed to be helping each other to find out what that special purpose is.
So important. You see, if you think everything is in many ways like a chemical reaction, it's like you need energy, right? You need a sparkle. I think for many people, for change to really occur, we need to see them. I noticed one thing that again, I'm borrowing from just from my profession. One of the things I noticed by reading scripture, I find that Jesus, as we talk about his work on earth, one of the things that he always does, they would say, Jesus. So they will be, maybe they're walking by and he will see on the street. He will see somebody who's demonized, somebody who's crippled, somebody who's in need. And said that Jesus, full of compassion, reached out. See a leper. So when he sees, out of what he saw, passion was generated in the heart. Observing, compassion in the heart, and he reached out and to serve. Mm-hmm. You can't really be helpful unless you notice. Mm-hmm. So the act of seeing is an act of noticing else and noticing their need, noticing where are their situation, so that you can become a witness, so you can become a voice, so you can become a helpful presence, you see, of an value. So we see the suffering. We do not know that our presence the sufferer. So we see, which is what notice, that's where the magic, we transform our mind and our presence become redemptive, our presence become providential. We become the providence. Yes, become the bridge to hope, the bridge to health, bridge to meaning. I don't know if I'm making or if I'm just talking over the head of somebody, but I'm going to just explain how important it is for us to take a moment to notice. Because when you notice, then you see the homeless people. You notice how they are. Unless you notice well, you will impose your help, and your helping will hurt the world. It's important that you see and that you see clearly. It's important that you see enough. And the only way to do that is to seek to understand. They say theology is faith seeking understanding. For example, I don't understand the whole thing about virgin birth. Do you?
No.
I don't. Do you? I don't know. Like, it's like faith seeking understanding. And I think that's what we seek to understand each other. You know, when we come with the attitude, coming here to understand, I'm not here to impose my meaning to somebody. I'm here to understand the meaning as yet. And out of that understanding, we co-labor together. And we become commissioner. We commission to change our world. And that is what happened most of the time in our mission field, in when we go in other countries. We are very quick to impose our help. And when we do, we become colonial. We become imposters, and then we're being hunted down because we never lived close enough to people to understand them, to hear that, oh, you need a water well, and we begin digging a water well the way we know it. Oh, you need this infrastructure, and we begin building it. Well, what we really need to do is to build a human connection, because they're all connected.
Nice. And with that connection, then they would know, better understand what they need, and everybody who wants to help, to assist, understands what it is. They see what the problem is. They see what the needs of the people are, as opposed to imposing what they think is going to be of help. That's
so important. Yeah. Go for it.
No,
important.
I just summarize and make sure I'm following along there, Daniel. And I get it. I think it makes good sense.
Yes, I think that's whatever problem we have in our society between our nations, First Nations and others, white and black, yellow and green, it don't matter, up and down it is. Problem really begin to manifest when we believe we got the answer. We're going to impose it on others.
Yeah.
Our helping hurts. Our press actually erodes. It does not add. So this is quite important for health.
Yes.
It's not the biggest burden is not to just come and impose your help. The biggest burden is to understand. Be there close enough to understand. Because otherwise, imagine this, with your wife or your girlfriend, your partner, you need to walk together a little bit before, like, here's what they really, really need. What they really, like, what they value is you have just become a voice, you are noise, you are unhealthy, you are unhelpful. And you do not build, you are tearing away. And for community, the kind of community I'm talking about, qualitative community, we need to put emphasis on that. And that means also at work, as well as in our communities, our churches, in coupleship. I think sometimes we think it's just about gabbling. Actually, much of communication is about seeking to understand where your spouse comes from. Do not so enamored and so consume what you have to say. Be more enamored what you have to say. When you do that, they also understand reciprocity. And for me, if I seek to learn and I invest my time on it, like 80% to understand, and then only 20% in doing, doing out of that understanding, I think we will make this world a hopeful place, a more helpful milieu.
Yes, sir.
Maybe there's a comment that you want to bring, or maybe you want to add to it, but I think that's quite important.
Well, I just wanted to add to that. Yes, this you're saying about, not understanding the needs and imposing what you think is right in the most positive sense possible. If you think of my ancestors 150 years ago with our First Nations people here, maybe they thought this was what was best for the First Nations people. Maybe. I'm not so sure that was the case, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt. But in doing so, they destroyed a perfectly good culture, or tried to destroy a perfectly good culture. They haven't destroyed it, but they certainly have caused a lot of damage along the way to our First Nation brothers and sisters for 6 generations of trying to destroy their culture. So same thing, applying what maybe was right.
And not only that, I think they destroy themselves as well. Because when you destroy one, destroy also. When you erode somebody, you erode the quality of your own being in the world. And that is why we are connected. In truth, there is no Jew, there is no Gentile, there is no male, there is no female, there's no First Nation or Second Nation or Third Nation. We are all one human being. And so when one of us hurt, everybody hurts. And quite important, as we see in that community as of brotherhood, our presence really tentacular, spectacular. It adds value, it's transformative. See, and I think that's what is intriguing, to see When in the bush, you see pygmies, how they live. It's intriguing. It's not about hunting these people, these bush people, and trying to examine them as if they were like as in a scientific or laboratory experiment. But this is, you get to experiment life. You got to experience life, to share it together, and you get to seek to understand. And then you realize, wow, it's in seeking to understand that we are understood. It's in seeking to give that we also are given. And I think
that's a beautiful thing. What a great relationship, right? What a great way for the world to work.
Yes. And I think that's really the whole true story. And when we do that, the love flows deeply. We become what we were meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
And when we are that way, we do not litter. We do not pollute our environment. We do not live carelessly. We do not waste. You know?
Right. Because our actions are impacting others, and we're looking out for their welfare. So we're making decisions that are going to be beneficial for them, or at least not harmful to them, right? Like with litter, with waste, with, those kind of things. But one other thing I was going to throw in here. Are you familiar with 23andMe? You know that about the whole track your genealogy with, you send them a little spit test and then they figure your DNA and where you came from and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tell me more.
Okay. Well, you spit in a bottle, you send it away, they send you back a report, tells you where, your ancestry's from and who you're connected to versus your DNA. So you just made the statement about us all being connected. So when they go through the whole DNA thing and they go back, I forget how many years, and they go through, well, this is the part of Europe that you're from. And then they go back further, they say, this is one of these 5 African women would have been your great, 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 whatever grandmother. This is where the start of your chain is, right? And so that, when you say we're connected, that's the science saying we're connected, right? Here's where it starts, and everybody goes from here. And when there's this land bridge, then people went over here and they became Swedish people, and these people became, North Americans. And anyways, it's a fascinating thing, but it's saying what you're saying from a scientific thing. We're connected, and here's the origins of that connection. So very interesting.
And it does diminish us. It adds value. And when in connection is power, you see, in our oneness, there is power.
Yes.
And in realizing that there is just, I am brother, buddy. I get to wake up every day, got to see brothers and sisters, aunties, and we are all connected in that family of God. And to me, that's one of the of being alive, and to live in a place like this, and to not be self-conscious, to not be so enamored of myself, but to know that, I am because you are, and because she is Ubuntu,
Ubuntu?
like, and in that, so Ubuntu, this is the term used quite a lot in South Africa and much of that Eastern Africa, just talking a lot about the fact that we are all connected.
Yeah.
I am because of you, you are me, and so on, and that we are all interconnected. Ubuntu.
Nice.
You see.
And back to that about us being connected, we're connected uniquely, but we want to be our unique self. I don't want to be like the handsome Daniel Zapula. I don't want to be like the 4th level of Daniel Zapula. I want to be the number 1 Alan Friesen, right? That's all I can be. So why would I envy Daniel because of his obvious talents? Or why would I envy somebody else because of something they can do better than me? I could just be the best I can be. That's all I can do, right? And that's enough. That's always enough. All you being you is always enough.
And if I can be a microphone, be an amplifier. I mean, to amplify somebody else.
Yes.
That's what I want to be a camera that carry and show you to the world. I want to be a portal that really show and reveal others. I want to be a gateway to of opportunity. I want to be a network, a connection to others. I want to connect people to people, possibilities. I think when we live like that, we are a path to discovery, and discovery that is greater than the sum total of each one of us. You see, and that is the mystery, because the more we understand that, the more focused we are on this, people, the our value. I'm just a marvel at the beauty that there is in being here and now. Not yesterday, because it's gone. Not tomorrow, because it may never come. But this moment.
You pray, I know, Daniel, but do you also meditate as well?
Tell me meditation. What do you mean by meditation?
Well, meditation for me is basically where I just try and focus on being in this moment. And usually it's just enjoying my breath, just feeling my inhalation as pleasurable, as deep as it is pleasurable, and then and as quiet as I can make it, and then exhale as thoroughly as is pleasurable, and just focusing on your breath and feeling it move in and out of your body, and that experience. And every once in a while, when I get it perfect, I'm aware of my heart beating. I can hear my heart beating. Like, it's not that happens too often, but that's a beautiful thing when you get that quiet that you can actually hear your heartbeat. So I for me, maybe everybody else can do it easy, but for me, it's just like when I'm very, very calm, I'm not anywhere else except this present moment. And that is a very enjoyable, pleasurable place to be.
So by that, you mean a sort of mental quietness, physical stillness, spiritual alertness.
Nicely said.
Right? That's what you mean by.
Yes, exactly.
So in a sense, yes, and I think they certainly different ways of, and where I come from, prayer, ruminating the word is like keeping your mind focused on for me on Christ, and that's good. Or like Paul say, whatever is pure, whatever is wholesome, whatever is uplifting, think about such things. So you make your presence be about being alert and heightened to what is good, to what has added value. And I think there's something powerful. And daily, obviously for me, like me, maybe quite early in the morning when I wake up, and that's quite important. And as I look and behold the day, and I receive the day as is with gratefulness. And then I summon my problem, my challenges, and my schedule before me. And I realize, and I look at that schedule and I say, this schedule does not define me. It not make me a better person. There's something greater than that schedule. I'm already a great person that is actually in the schedule. I think there is meaning and there is a divine, there's something quite behind it. So for me, it's grateful to know that they may be my last, but my presence is going to have a lasting impact. And for me, it's just being able to obey and to really think. I know a friend, for me, it lays down, just up and just lay in the bed. That's how he really thinks. He can really resist. But just like any computer, it's like a wire. We got to actually integrate a little bit. And certainly, for me, the act of meditation or the act of reflection is about bringing us back to the moment that it is, not live in the past or in the future, because it's escaping. Because are you escaping? So, but being in the moment, that's what I really, really think there is something quite helpful. Because when you live in the past, go for it.
Right. And the universal intelligence, power, beauty, love, the universal, whatever that force is, that's where you connect to it. Whatever your spiritual belief is, that's when you connect in it, is in this moment, right? In this moment, when you can be quiet, you can make that connection. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, that's so important. And I think one of the thing is just be deliberate about our experiences. Like for me, it's like for you, you just talk about how you meditate, all those stuff. For me, I pray and I connect with God, but and I don't try to be politically correct or religiously correct. It's just this is my experience.
Oh, agreed.
And somebody call an alpha or a beta it is, but sometime in our society, part of our ill is that we're no longer able to speak frankly to each other of our own experience. We, I'm scared somebody's gonna be offended.
Right. Yeah.
Well, you're not easily offended then, you know. Like, but it's just learn to welcome brother neighbor, and that's what I mean. Suffer another person, just witness, seek to understand. And a lot of people have don't believe in God at all, which I think is anybody can make anybody else believe in God at all. No, I don't. But lots do believe, and thank God, you know. And I think we just need to embrace that reality and so understand each other. Because when we do, in that moment, there is connection and there is revelation that is greater than all of us together. And that is what I really, really have found most helpful. So I don't take it as a burden in my life to convert anybody, because that's not, Bible says it's not my job anyways.
Sure.
I am to embody my life, to be a testimony, to be an example wherever I go. And by word, by indeed, by what I do, by what I intentionally don't do, you know?
Yeah. So
that's how we live. It's how you do your life too. It's like you honest, you transparent, and you show up as you. When you sing, I see fill up your chest with air, and I say, "Wow, Alan, come on now!" Like it's like you are present. It's provocative. It's like you are so present that somebody is embarrassed. That's what I want you to be. I want to be in such a way I provoke my kids. Say, Dad, I want to be. I love embarrassing my kids or my wife by just being authentically me. So really refreshing to be. Yeah.
Well, Daniel, you are an inspiration to me. You are somebody who knows about peace and beauty and love and truth and understanding. Thank you. I appreciate chat.
Thank you. So are you. Just want to thank you for this moment and just be able to share. It's not like we said about a show, it's about anything. It's about, let's have a conversation. If somebody join in the conversation, good. We will not be banged out of shape. If nobody, we won't be banged out of shape. Our job is to have a conversation when we do, and then to just have life. That's why I'm relaxed. You know, I'm not trying to suit and jacket and all those stuff, but just to be present and to show up.
Well, I learned something. I learn something every time we talk, my friend. So I've enjoyed it. If anybody else wants to be part of it, they can call us 587-813, not tonight anymore, 587-813-6552, or send an email 3hhumans@gmail.com, 3hhumans@gmail.com, and we'll have a chat with you if you're interested. Daniel, you got a glass of wine waiting for you, right, my friend?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. And some good. Yeah, go.
that I will leave you to your wine, and next week, same time, we'll have a chat again.
Thank you very, very much to you.
Thank you, sir. Talk to you.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. It's downloading the recording now. So I'm